world.
Today we're jumping into the world of programming languages, specifically this huge surge in popularity for Python. You really can't miss it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got the latest numbers here from the May 2025 TIOBE and PIPL indices. And, well, they both tell a pretty clear story about Python just dominating right now.
Okay.
And, for anyone involved in tech or even just curious about where things are heading, understanding these trends is, well, it's becoming crucial.
Right. So let's unpack this then. Our mission for this deep dive is to figure out why Python is doing so well. We want to pull out the key bits from these reports, explain what it all means for the tech world, without drowning everyone in jargon.
Oh, good.
So let's kick off with the TIOBE Index. What's the main headline there?
The big news is Python hitting an all-time high. It's got a rating of 25.35% in May 2025.
25%. Yeah, and to put that in perspective, that's the highest score any language has had since Java, way back in June 2001. And get this, Python's score jumped about 2.2 percentage points just since last month.
Wow, we got 2.2 points in a single month.
Yeah.
That's moving fast. But it's not just the score itself, is it? It's how far ahead it is.
Exactly. That's the other part of the story. Python's lead over number 2, which is C++A, is now over 15 percentage points.
15.
Yeah, Python's at 25.35%. C++ is down at 9.94%. In this world, that's a massive gap, a record-breaking lead, actually.
15 points. That really does put it in perspective. Okay, but I remember reading something. Despite being so popular, it's not perfect for everything, right? What's the catch?
That's a fair point, and it comes from TIOBE CEO Paul Jansen. He talks about Python's serious drawbacks.
Okay.
Mainly, it can be slower than some other languages, and because it's interpreted, sometimes errors don't show up until the program's actually running.
Runtime errors.
Right. So he basically says, look, for systems where you absolutely need top speed or things that cannot fail, like safety critical stuff,
Yeah.
other languages are still essential. Python's great, versatile, but maybe not for those specific high-stakes jobs.
That makes total sense. The right tool for the right job, basically.
Precisely.
Now, you mentioned Python's score is higher than Java's peak back in '01. Why is Python hitting number 1 now considered even more significant?
Right, good question. It comes down to the sheer number of languages TIOBE tracks now. Back when Java was on top in 2001, TIOBE only looked at about 20 languages.
Only 20.
Yeah. Today, they track 282.
Wow.
So for Python to get over 25% in a field that's so much bigger, well, it just highlights how incredibly widespread its adoption really is.
That's a really important distinction. It's dominating a much, much larger landscape.
Yeah.
So how does TIOBE actually figure this out? What goes into their calculation?
They use a pretty broad approach. They look at the number of skilled engineers worldwide for a language, how many courses are available, how many third-party vendors support it, that kind of thing. Okay.
And they gather the data by analyzing activity on loads of popular websites, Google, Wikipedia, Bing, Amazon, over 20 big ones. It's sort of a measure of the language's overall footprint online and in the industry.
So it's a really wide measure of how embedded it is. Got it. And what about the rest of the TIOBE top 10 for May? Who else is up there?
Okay, so after Python at number 1 and C++ at 2, we've got C in third place with 9.71%, then Java at 9.31%.
Still strong?
Yep. Then C# at 4.22%, JavaScript at 3.68%, Go is next at 2.7%, Visual Basic at 2.62%, Delphi or Object Pascal at 2.29%, and SQL rounds at the top 10 with 1.9%.
Okay, cool. That gives us the TIOBE picture. Now, you also mentioned the PIPL Index. How does that one work? Is it telling the same story?
PYPL takes a different approach. It's simpler, really. It ranks languages based purely on how often people search for tutorials about them on Google.
Ah, okay. So it's more about online interest, maybe learning trends.
Exactly. It's gauging how much buzz or learning activity there is around a language based on search frequency. Interesting angle. So what does the PIPL top 10 look like then? Any big shakeups compared to TIOBE?
Well, Python is still number 1 by a mile on PIPL too, with 30.41%.
Even higher share there.
Yeah. But then the order shifts a bit. Java is second on PIPL at 15.1%. JavaScript is third at 7.93%. Then PIPL groups C and C++ together, they're fourth at 6.98%. After that, C# at 6.09%, then R, the stats language, at 4.59%, PHP at 3.71%, Rust comes in at 3.09%, TypeScript at 2.8%, and Objective-C is 10th at 2.76%.
So Python's clearly king in both, which is, pretty definitive. But the rest of the list does shuffle around quite a bit. Java seems much more searched for than its TIOBE rank might suggest. And JavaScript is higher too.
Exactly right. The different methods give us different perspectives. TIOBE is maybe more about current established professional use, while Pipel reflects maybe broader interest, learning, people exploring.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the fact Python leads both so strongly despite those different views, that really says something about its overall reach right now.
Definitely. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. TIOBE's been doing this since 2001, you said. What does the history tell us about Python's climb? Was it like an overnight success?
Oh, definitely not overnight. It's been a long climb. If you look back at the TIOBE averages, in the year 2000, Python was way down in 25th place.
25th.
Yep, by 2010, it had cracked the top 10, sitting at 7th. And well, now in 2025, it's number 1. It shows this really steady, powerful growth over more than 2 decades.
That's an amazing trajectory. Really shows a fundamental shift. Now, I saw a note in the TIOBE stuff about Visual Basic versus Visual Basic. What's that about? Sounds a bit confusing.
Yeah, it's a small historical detail, but useful. Originally, TIOBE used Visual Basic to cover all basic dialects, including the early Visual Basic versions. But after 2010, as Visual Basic.NET became dominant, they split it. So now Visual Basic mostly means VBNet, just a clarification for tracking trends accurately over time.
Okay, good to know. And what about SQL? It's in the top 10 now, but you said it wasn't always tracked.
Correct. SQL was only added to the main TIOBE index in 2018.
Why so late?
The key reason was the realization, or maybe the acceptance, that SQL is actually Turing complete.
Turing complete, meaning...
Basically, it means that theoretically, SQL can perform any computation that a general-purpose computer can. It's not just for asking questions of databases. It has the logical power of a full programming language. So it earned its spot on the index.
Huh. Never thought of SQL that way. Interesting. And Python's had some specific accolades from TIOBE too, hasn't it? Something about Language of the Year.
Yes. TIOBE gives out a Programming Language of the Year award each year to the language that gained the most popularity points. Python has won that award 6 times.
6 times. When were those?
Let's see, 2024, 2021, 2020, 2018, 2010, and 2007.
Wow. That's consistent growth right there. Almost every other year recently.
It really highlights just how much momentum it's had, especially over the last decade or so.
Okay, so bringing this all together,
Right.
what are the core reasons why Python has risen so high and stayed there? What's the magic formula?
It seems to be a combination of things. First, its incredible versatility. People use it for everything: web development, data science, AI, machine learning, scripting, automation. The list goes on.
Right, it tops up everywhere.
Second, it's generally seen as easier to learn than many other powerful languages. The syntax is cleaner, more readable. That lowers the barrier to entry.
Makes it approachable.
Exactly. And third, there's this massive ecosystem of libraries and frameworks, pre-built code for almost anything you want to do, which drastically speeds up development, plus a huge active community providing support.
So versatile, relatively easy to get started with, and tons of tools and help available. That sounds like a winning combo.
It really seems to be.
But we have to remember those downsides, the trade-offs you mentioned earlier. Performance and those runtime errors.
Absolutely crucial to remember. Python is fantastic, but it's not always the fastest kid on the block. For things needing raw speed or guaranteed stability before running, languages like C++ still have a vital role. It's about picking the right tool, always.
Okay, so let's connect this back. For someone listening, maybe not a coder themselves, why does this matter? Why should you care which programming language is popular?
Well, think about it. Technology choices affect businesses, job markets, the tools we all use. Knowing which languages are dominant helps you understand, well, the direction things are moving in.
Okay.
If you're hiring, it tells you what skills are in demand. If you're choosing tech for a project, it informs your decision. Even just understanding the news about AI or big data, knowing Python is often underneath, helps make sense of it. It's like knowing the materials used to build the digital world around us.
Right. It gives you context for the tech landscape. Even if you're not digging into the code itself, you understand the building blocks better.
Precisely. It provides a much more informed perspective on, well, everything digital.
Okay, great. So let's quickly recap then. Our deep dive shows Python is, without a doubt, the top programming language right now, according to both TIOBE and Pipel indices for May 2025. Record popularity, massive lead.
Yep, driven by its versatility, ease of learning, and that huge library ecosystem.
But crucially, it comes with trade-offs, particularly around performance in some cases, which is why languages like C++, C, Java, and others remain incredibly important for specific needs.
Exactly. We saw its long climb from 25th place back in 2000, the multiple Language of the Year awards. It's been a sustained rise reflecting broad adoption.
Okay, so here's a final thought to leave you with. Given Python's dominance, but also its known trade-offs,
Mhm.
what might the next shifts look like? Will we see languages emerge that try to offer Python's ease of use with better performance? What skills might become even more valuable as things keep changing?
That's a big question, isn't it? How does this balance evolve?
Something to ponder. The story definitely isn't over.